Steven Bartlett, entrepreneur, investor, Dragon's Den star, and multimillionaire. But how did he go from a broke university dropout to one of the UK's most influential business figures? In this video, we're breaking down exactly how Steven Bartlett made his fortune from his first company to his biggest investments, and how he continues to grow his wealth today. Stay to the end because his story has some unexpected lessons that could help you build your own success. Let's dive in. Steven Bartlett was born in Botswana in 1992 and raised in Plymouth, UK. His family wasn't wealthy, and from a young age he had a hustler's mindset, always looking for ways to make money. At 18, he enrolled at Manchester Metropolitan University, but dropped out after just one lecture because he believed the traditional education system wasn't for him. He instead used his time to work on his first business idea, Woolpark, a social media platform for students. Woolpark was a fairly simple idea, essentially being a student notice board that allowed students to share events and sell textbooks. However, just getting this business started allowed him to learn. Sometimes the best education comes from real-world experience, rather than university. After dropping out and gaining insights from running Woolpark, Steven Bartlett had a bigger idea. He wanted to build a social media agency. What Steven Bartlett said about how he moved on to his first real venture. Whilst working to grow Woolpark, one of the main things I learned more about was the behaviour of young people on social media. During this time, I stumbled upon a Twitter page aimed at students run by a student at Edinburgh University. His name was Dominic McGregor. Dom was posting extremely funny and relatable student content that in turn attracted thousands of followers. I saw the opportunity to use these platforms to connect a brand with its audience. If there was a way to weave a brand's message seamlessly into the page and engagement and following wouldn't suffer, I wanted to create it. I got in touch with Dom and shared my vision, and soon enough he ended up ditching his studies too. Together, we set up Social Chain. In 2014, at just 22 years old and building off his previous experience, he co-founded Social Chain, a social media marketing agency that used viral content and influencer marketing to help brands reach millions of people. So what made Social Chain so successful? A big part of it was how the business snowballed. They hacked social media algorithms before anyone else, which then allowed them to build a huge network of followers across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This then gave them enough exposure to work with huge brands like Apple, Coca-Cola, and Amazon. By the time Steven was 27, Social Chain had gone public on the stock market and was valued at over 300 million. As Social Chain worked with more and more clients, Steven Bartlett learned more and more about what works on social media, allowing him to apply each of these techniques to his own social media. However, what really catapulted Steven Bartlett into stardom was his podcast, Diary of a CEO. When Bartlett first launched Diary of a CEO in 2017, he had no lofty ambitions or grand vision of podcasting stardom. He covers this in an interview. I never thought I would be considered a podcaster. I've always seen myself as an entrepreneur. Instead, the podcast was a labour of love, a creative outlet that allowed him to explore his curiosities without any expectations of success or financial reward. One of the biggest challenges in podcasting is growth. Audio platforms and Apple don't offer much inherent growth because they aren't social networks with built-in content discovery. There isn't a billion people just one retweet or share button away from discovering your show. So much of the growth comes off the platform, which is why video is so critical in podcasting. Seizing on this insight, Bartlett made the strategic decision to transition Diary of a CEO into a video format, allowing him to reach new audiences on global, viral-friendly platforms like Spotify and YouTube. This bold pivot proved to be a transformative moment for the podcast. As Bartlett's audience continued to grow, so too did the commercial potential of his creation. Our team started with just one person and has now grown to more than 40. I didn't realise when I started that the podcast would effectively scale into a media company. The most important thing is to stay true to your curiosity. And I say this for a reason that might not be so obvious. The way I see it is, if I'm going to do this podcast for the next 10 or 20 years, then the most important thing is to ensure I enjoy it. The easiest way to make sure I enjoy it is to ensure that every single time I wake up in the morning and see that I'm booked to record a podcast, I feel excited about the conversation. This focus on quality over quantity has been a key driver of Diary of a CEO's growth and engagement. We delete about 10 to 20 episodes a year purely because we believe our audience will be able to tell that we didn't think it was a good use of their time, and we never want to break that trust. Don't focus on becoming the next big podcaster. Instead, obsessively focus on how you can make your show even 1% better every day. And one day you'll wake up to find that more people than you could ever have imagined are listening. If his own journey is any indication, those words of wisdom could unlock the next big success story in the creator economy. After Diary of a CEO gained such worldwide success, Steven Bartlett went full steam ahead on other ventures. In 2021, Steven became the youngest ever investor on Dragon's Den. He now owns equity in multiple startups he invests in on the show. His book, Happy Sexy Millionaire, became a bestseller, adding to his income. He now does speaking engagements in which companies pay him $50,000 per speaking gig, making his personal brand a business of its own. He's also invested in health and wellness companies like Huel and flight subscription service Fly Now, Pay Later, earning even more passive income. This is important to focus on, as the richest entrepreneurs don't rely on one income source. They build multiple income streams. So how much is Steven Bartlett worth? While exact numbers vary, estimates place his net worth between 60 million and 100 million, and it's still growing rapidly. With new investments, his podcast and future ventures, Steven Bartlett is only getting started. Success isn't just about making money, it's about reinventing yourself, spotting trends, and constantly building new opportunities. So that's how Steven Bartlett got so rich, by taking risks, building businesses, and diversifying his income. What's the biggest lesson you learned from his journey? Let me know in the comments. And as always, we'll see you next time.